Hey guys, this is Pedro back with a brand new interview. This time I am accompanied by tens of Sentinels before the start of the 2024 VCT Americas kickoff event. Like I said before the start of the recording, thank you so much, thank you so much, Tens, for the time. Sorry about that. Just want to just cover where you're at right now, mentally, professionally, now that we're a few weeks from the start of the 2024 regular season. So, where's your head at right now?
Definitely pretty good. I think that the rest of the team and I have been putting in a lot of work during the off season, and I think that we're in a pretty comfortable spot, especially with getting our team cohesion on point in recent times compared to in the past. So I think definitely we should be giving like some confidence to ourselves just because we've been just a lot more of like a team recently.
Oh yeah, of course, and looking at the team, of course, various changes was made to the roster, specifically in the starting lineup. Bringing in Johnqt and also adding in the Zellsis as the sixth man, letting go Marved, seeing him go to NRG, and so that said, I know it's been a few months since these changes were made, and you guys were able to then have a lot of reps in during the off season. So, how have you seen? What was it like just trying to fit in with these new players into the lineup, and how has that been progressing since then up until this moment in time?
Yeah, definitely. With the addition of John and Zellsis into our team, it definitely changed things in the team for the better. For the better. And just overall, like I think we do act and play more as a team. It feels a lot more like organized, and we actually have like a proper game plan that like following most of the time when we're playing. So I think that's like the main thing. Also, I think our energy dynamic is a lot better than what it used to be before. And that's mainly just in due to part like Jordan's like a really big help for that just because he's very talkative, he's very energetic, and he can boost the morale and the mood for the team.
Oh yeah, of course. And when it comes to looking at this starting lineup for this roster, of course, it's gonna take a lot of, it's gonna make a lot of comparisons compared to how it was the previous year. What with the various roster changes and the like, that you experienced, and also the rest of the team for 2023, and so even so, like, what has been one of the few things that you feel, or probably the number one thing that you feel you had to tweak as an individual for the better when it comes to playing with a new iteration of the lineup within this team?
Yeah, so one of the things I had to pick up mainly was the new roles. So I'm a lot more on like actual like proper controller roles rather than playing like so we kind of split the controller duties between Zellsis and I. So I'll play more of like the normal smokes, like I'll play Astra, Omen, stuff like that. And Zellsis will then be on like line smokes like Viper, more anchor type. And yeah, so I've just had to learn a new role and get used to that, play a lot during the off season for getting used to it. And overall, like I think I'm feeling a lot more comfortable after like kind of reinventing myself as a player.
Yeah, and as you said about your new type of role for this year, um, how difficult has it been also on top of just you highlighting you um um taking on new ages, playing new ages compared to how it was from the past in your career. So, what has been some of the challenges for you when it comes to playing in this new role for this team for this season?
Yeah, so I think just overall when you're playing like more typical agents that don't really have escapes in their kit, like Omen, Omen has a TP, so you can kind of get away with like certain stuff and playing off angles, but and still like the general, you have to play a little bit smarter. You can't take as risky of duels as you normally can with duelists, and normally you do have to like value your life a lot, especially in important situations. So definitely it's just get like something to get used to. It wasn't too hard to initially jump into the role. I think it's just more of just playing a lot, getting used to it, feeling out the agent, and making sure that my utility is on point with my team.
Mhm. And now that you've been able to then, have a lot of rounds under your belt in this new type of role, where do you see yourself now at your current level, do you feel that you fully accommodated to this new role? Do you feel still iffy about it, and even now, or anywhere of the like?
I definitely think that for me, I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable in the role. And definitely I think I'm adding like my own personal like flair through Omen in specific. So kind of like my personality shines a little bit more through that character in particular. But yeah, I think everything's just been going pretty good.
Interesting that you brought up also the Omen. It's a agent that with your individual players bringing a lot of anticipation. I remember this one. I think back in Placha they were talking about I think Sasha was specifically talking about their anticipation of seeing you play that agent, and also people outside of that. But what are your expectations for this year on just you specifically, not just focusing on the rest of the team, but for you when it comes to playing this new role, contributing to the team, and just being in a different position for this year compared to how it was the previous years?
Yeah, so I think that overall with like switching to this role, I think it allows me to actually be more consistent as a player just because I think that sometimes duelist is a very volatile role where like you can be like hit or miss. Like if team's really good at shutting you down on the entry, then you could be having like a really difficult time like heating up, starting off a game, even starting up like a series before it's too late. So I think with definitely playing these roles and I play like KO, I play Omen, I play sometimes some Yoru, but it kind of allows me to dictate the game for myself and not like allow like the Valorant gods to decide my fate for like how I'm feeling for like the first few sets of rounds.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. And now I want to take on the rest of the team. Of course, I think one of the biggest changes when it comes to looking at Sentinels and their current form, I think is the IGO with Johnqt, and how with his individual play, it's been receiving plenty of praise amongst the Valorant competitive community. And I want to know from your perspective, how has it been, working with a player such as Johnqt, and then having him fit in with the rest of the team, such as Zellsis, Sasip, Zekin, and Pankata.
Yeah, so John's been really amazing. He's really like cool-headed IGL, and I think the ideas that he brings in is really good. He's constantly like working on his own play, but also like thinking of the team as a whole, introducing new strats. We're always like open to experimenting to a certain degree, and I think that's really important as well. And overall, like mechanically, he's pretty insane, and I think that's just having him as like a shooter, as long as having the individual talent of the others on the team. I think when people start getting heated up, then we can definitely snowball a game based on like individual talent if it comes to that.
How does he compare to the other IGOs that you've played with over the years in Sentinels?
Yeah, I think that's definitely like his mechanical abilities really really high. And I do think that like he's a really really smart player. It's kind of hard to do a direct comparison just because each player plays like a different role. Like in my time I played with Chaz when he was IGLing, he was playing like Sova and stuff, sometimes Jet. Def was playing like Flash Initiators, he was playing a little bit more like passive, I'd say, as like a KO. And then John, he's playing like Sentinel and picking up like a lot of our Cypher duties. And I think that was kind of what we were missing a lot of the time because with the creation of the roster, we've always kind of struggled with role issues. And I think it was like present, and having John there definitely fixed a lot of the roles. Still, some of us have to kind of play stuff that was considered off role before, but now kind of feel comfortable on, such as me playing controller. So I think that everything is starting to feel like a lot more nicely knit as a team.
Course, of course. And I gotta talk about then Celsius because, of course, with his contribution to the team, there's sort of race about where is he going to fit within this team for this season once he kicks off. So, where do you think Celsius will fit into the team? Despite him being the sixth man of the team, once the season kicks off.
Yeah, so I think he's really important for us. And a lot of the time when he's playing, he plays like he plays Brimstone on our bind. But he'll definitely pick up like the Viper, stuff like that. He plays a little bit of Killjoy here and there, and then let's see what else does he play. He will also split like KO duties with me because he's also kind of like known for being like a flash initiator in his past teams. Like he'd play KO, he'd play Breach, and that was like kind of roles that I played. So we kind of split the responsibilities for flash initiators and controllers.
Oh yeah, of course, and I want to now pivot back to last season. Of course, plenty of things happened, you know, for the team and also you specifically. You even had to take some time off in the middle part of the season, and so now that you know we've been able to talk a little bit about how the season was back then for a little bit. How do you look back at what 23 was? Struggles, roster changes, and everything else on top of that. What do you feel? What was the biggest thing you feel you had to that you identified, felt was difficult to handle at first, and then um, adjusted for the future?
Yeah, so I think the just the whole 2023 season was kind of just a whole mess for us. Just we're struggling with like everything possible. Um, there was a lot of like in-game like role issues that we were struggling with. Some out of game stuff that's I was struggling with. And so just overall, I think like 2023 season was definitely like really hard. And when we look back at it, we're just like, holy, we're just like really, really unfortunate that stuff kind of unraveled this way.
Of course, and you know, just to go from that to now being where you are, you know, renewed. I feel that's what I kind of get the sense of you renewed, rejuvenated, and refocused. It's a quite an extraordinary improvement from the end of last season, and so now I want to now touch upon you know expectations. You know, as someone that is you know seen as the top guy within Sentinels for the past 3 years, now going on to fourth, I believe. You're already well familiar with expectations and how big they are and how grueling it can be um, at this point in time. Now that you've basically had so much time within your career in Valorant, do you pay attention to any of expectations about what this team can do for this season and what it might do simultaneously?
Just I think mainly I try to just keep it like realistic and I think of what our team can do into like actual like possible terms. And so like looking at this season, I do feel like this is the most confident I felt about our team and also as an individual in a while. So I think that is definitely a bright thing to the start of the new year.
Of course, and a few more questions before I wrap it up. First, you know, of course, with Sentinels being in the what many call group of death, being alongside no, Loud, Hundred Thieves, and Leviathan. What are your thoughts on just taking on those three other teams later on down the line once the event does kick off? Pun intended.
Yeah, definitely our group looks a lot harder than other teams groups, but at the end of the day, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And I think that we couldn't start off the year better than playing against one of the hardest opponents in America's region.
Of course, of course. And now, final question before we wrap it up. Now pivoting towards yourself, Tense. Um, what is one thing? What's going to be like your main goal when it comes to you know contributing to the team, competing in Americas for 2024? What do you feel is going to be your number one thing that you feel you want to achieve the most?
Definitely, I think looking at it like on first step, I think we definitely want to like try to qualify for an international tournament. And we've been putting in a lot of work during the off season when a lot of the other teams kind of took a break. So I think we kind of have an advantage there and just overall, especially teams starting off brand new, they're introducing new players, new cores. I think that's um, us having what we had going on 2023, but also building off of it and keeping like a core, I think is really important for us.
Of course, and hopefully you guys are able to start the momentum in kickoff and then everything beyond that. TenZ, really appreciate you taking the time and just doing this interview real quick. I really appreciate it. Give my regards to the team and best of luck to you in the future.
Okay, thank you.